My name is Sarah. I am 27 years old, and I live in a small town called Maplewood. It is a quiet place with green trees, small streets, and friendly neighbors who wave when you walk by. I work at a bakery in the center of town. Every morning, I smell fresh bread and coffee when I open the shop. I love my job. I love talking with the old ladies who buy muffins every morning. Life in Maplewood is simple, and I like it that way. But my love life is not simple. 2 years ago, I met a man named Patrick. He is 32 years old. I met him when I was visiting my cousin in another town. He was sitting alone at a cafe, reading a book. I smiled at him, and he smiled back. We talked that day for hours. Patrick was charming. He asked about my dreams, my favorite music, even my favorite cake. He made me laugh. When I went home, he started texting me. We texted every day, morning and night. After a few weeks, he started visiting me every weekend. At first, it felt like a dream. He brought me flowers. He surprised me with chocolate croissants from my own bakery. We went for long walks by the river. When he held my hand, I felt safe. But there was one strange thing. I never went to his town. I never met his family or friends. When I asked, he always had a reason.
My family is busy this week.
He would say. Or,
My friends are not in town right now.
I believed him. Why wouldn't I? He looked me in the eyes and told me I was special. But 3 weeks ago, everything changed. It was a normal Wednesday night. I was lying on my bed, scrolling through my phone. I typed Patrick's last name into social media, just for fun. I don't know why. Maybe I was curious. And then I saw it. His profile picture was not just him. It was him with a woman and 2 little kids. The caption said, "Family Picnic Day." I froze. At first, I told myself it was an old photo. Maybe they were relatives. Maybe it was just a friend. But then I clicked on the woman's page. Her name was Anna. And in picture after picture, I saw her with Patrick. Their wedding day. Their kids' birthdays. Christmas morning together. My hands started shaking. I felt like the air was gone from the room. I called Patrick. My voice was shaking too. "Who is Anna?" I asked. There was a long pause. Too long.
She's my wife.
He said finally. I dropped the phone. My heart felt like it broke in two. The man I loved for 2 years, the man who said I was special, was married. For 3 days, I stayed in bed. I cried until my pillow was wet. I didn't eat. I didn't go to work. My best friend, Lucy, came to my house and tried to talk to me.
"Sarah, you need to leave him,"
she said gently. "I can't believe he lied to me," I whispered.
"You didn't deserve this."
But I didn't block his number. I didn't break up with him. Not yet. He kept texting me. He said he was sorry. He said he still loved me. He said he would explain everything. But every message made me feel sick. On the 4th day, I looked at myself in the mirror. My face was pale. My eyes were red. I felt weak, but I also felt something new, anger. How could he do this to me? How could he lie to his wife and children too? That night, I made a decision. I booked a small hotel room in Patrickstown. And I planned something I never thought I would do. On Sunday morning, I would go to his church, the church where he works. I would walk up to him in front of everyone and tell the truth. I didn't know what would happen next. I didn't know if people would believe me or hate me. But I felt like I had to do it. I needed to look him in the eyes and say, "You hurt me. You lied. And I am done." As I packed my bag, my hands were still shaking. My heart was beating fast. But inside, I felt something else too, a small piece of strength coming back. Before I share the rest of my story, I want to ask you something. Where are you listening from? It gives me strength to know someone is hearing my words, someone who understands. Please tell me in the comments. I would really love to know. I arrived in Patrickstown late Friday night. The air felt heavy when I stepped off the bus. The streets were quiet, the lamps casting soft yellow light on the sidewalks. I pulled my small suitcase behind me and walked to the hotel. The place was simple, one bed, one small table, a mirror on the wall. I sat on the bed and stared at my phone. He had sent me 3 messages that day. Good morning, beautiful. Are you okay? Please talk to me. Can we meet tomorrow? I didn't reply. I turned my phone face down on the table. That night, I could not sleep. I kept thinking about his wife, about those little kids. Were they at home now, laughing, watching TV? Did they know their dad was with me almost every weekend? I hated myself for being part of this, even if I didn't know. The next morning, I went out for a walk. The town was small, full of red brick houses and white fences. Children rode bikes on the street. People waved at each other from their front porches. I felt like a stranger. I walked past a park and saw a group of kids playing soccer. One boy ran to the edge of the field, and for a second, I thought he looked like Patrick. My chest hurt. I kept walking until I saw it, the church. It was tall, white, with a bell tower and a cross shining in the sun. The doors were open. Inside, I could hear music, someone practicing the piano. I stood there for a long time, my heart beating fast. Tomorrow, I thought. Tomorrow I will walk through those doors. That afternoon, I went back to the hotel. I made myself some tea and sat on the bed. Lucy called me.
Where are you?
She asked. I'm here, I whispered. In his town.
Sarah, are you sure about this?
I have to do it, I said. I can't just disappear. I can't let him lie and pretend nothing happened. There was silence on the other end of the call.
Okay.
She said softly.
Just be careful. And call me after.
When we hung up, I sat in silence for a long time. That night, I opened Patrick's messages again. He had written, I love you. Please, you mean everything to me. I almost replied. My fingers were on the screen. But then I remembered his wife's smile in those pictures. Her hand in his. Their children sitting on his lap. I turned my phone off and cried into my pillow until I fell asleep. The next morning was Sunday. I woke up early. My hands were cold as I got dressed. I chose a simple blue dress. I wanted to look strong, but not angry. At breakfast, I could hardly eat. My stomach felt tight. When it was almost time, I took a deep breath, grabbed my bag, and walked toward the church. The streets were full of people walking in the same direction. Some families held hands. Some old men wore suits and ties. I felt my legs shaking as I followed them. Inside the church, everything was bright. People were singing softly. Children were whispering and laughing. I sat in the last row. My heart was beating so loud I could hear it. Then I saw him. Patrick. He was standing near the front, smiling, talking to people. He wore a white shirt and dark pants. He looked like the man I had loved for 2 years. But he was not the same man to me anymore. He saw me. For a second, his smile froze. His eyes went wide. Then he looked away quickly. I knew he was scared. And for the first time, I felt calm. I stayed quiet through the service. I listened to the music, to the prayers. My hands were shaking, but inside, I felt stronger with every minute. When the service ended, people began to talk and laugh, greeting one another. I stood up. My legs felt heavy, but I walked slowly to the front. Patrick's eyes met mine again. This time, he didn't look away. He opened his mouth, maybe to tell me to leave. But I didn't stop walking. Tomorrow, I would not be the woman he lied to. I stood there, right in the front of the church. My heart was racing, but I kept breathing slowly. Patrick walked toward me.
Sarah, what are you doing here?
He whispered, his face pale. You know why I'm here, I said. He glanced around nervously. People were still talking, saying goodbye, putting on coats.
Please.
He said, almost begging.
Not here. Let's go outside and talk.
I shook my head. No. I want them to know. His face changed, anger and fear mixed together.
Sarah, please don't do this. You don't understand.
I stepped back and raised my voice just enough for people to hear. My name is Sarah, I said, my voice shaking but loud enough. I have been seeing Patrick for 2 years. I didn't know he was married. I didn't know he had a family. The room went quiet. I could feel all eyes on me. The air felt heavy, but I didn't stop. I found out 3 weeks ago, I continued, my hands trembling. I came here today because I deserve the truth. His wife deserves the truth. His children deserve the truth. A few people gasped. Someone dropped a Bible on the floor. Patrick's face was red now.
Stop it.
He said through his teeth.
You're making a scene.
I didn't make this scene, I said, tears in my eyes. You did. When you lied to me. When you lied to her. And then I saw her. Anna, his wife. She had been standing a few feet away, holding one of the children's hands. Her face was white as paper. She looked at Patrick, then at me. Is this true? She asked quietly. Patrick's mouth opened, but no words came out. Tell her, I said. The silence was so loud it hurt. Finally, Patrick looked at the floor.
Yes.
He whispered. Anna closed her eyes. Her hand slipped from her child's. She didn't cry. She just turned and walked out of the church, her back straight. The child followed her. Patrick turned to me, anger flashing in his eyes.
You ruined everything.
He hissed. I shook my head, my voice steady now. No, Patrick. You ruined everything. I just told the truth. I walked out before he could say another word. Outside, the sun was shining. People were whispering behind me, but I kept walking. My legs were shaking, but I didn't stop until I reached the park across the street. I sat on a bench and finally let the tears fall. I cried for myself, for the 2 years I had lost. I cried for Anna, who did not deserve this pain. And I even cried for Patrick, because I could see now that he was a man who lived 2 lives, and both were broken. When I had no more tears left, I called Lucy. It's done, I said softly.
Oh my God.
She whispered.
How do you feel?
I don't know, I said. Sad. Empty. But also free. There was a long pause on the line.
I'm proud of you.
Lucy said finally.
You were brave.
I looked back at the church one last time. I didn't know what would happen next for Patrick or Anna. But for me, I knew one thing. I would never let someone make me feel small again. I stood up and walked back to my hotel. That night, I slept for the first time in weeks without waking up in the middle of the night.
The story continues in 10 seconds. Pause the video to review the new vocabulary and answer the quiz questions.
The next morning, I woke up to the sound of church bells. For a moment, I forgot where I was. Then I remembered everything, the church, the faces staring at me, Patrick's voice saying yes, Anna walking away without looking back. I sat up in bed. My heart felt heavy, but something had changed. For the first time in weeks, I felt calm. I made myself a cup of tea and sat by the window. Outside, people were walking to work, children running to school. Life was going on, even after what happened yesterday. I packed my bag and checked out of the hotel. The woman at the front desk gave me a polite smile. She didn't know what had happened, but I felt like she could see the tiredness in my face. On the bus ride home, I stared out the window and thought about everything. I thought about the first time I met Patrick, about the walks by the river, the flowers, the chocolate croissants. Those memories hurt, but they were real. I had loved him with all my heart, even if he had lied to me. And I thought about Anna. I wondered if she cried last night. I wondered if she would stay with him or leave. I would never know. And maybe that was okay. When I reached Maplewood, Lucy was waiting for me at the bus stop. She ran to me and hugged me tight.
You did it.
She said softly. Yes, I whispered. We went to my house and made coffee. I told her every detail, every word, every look. She listened without saying a word until I was done.
You're stronger than you think, Sarah,
She said.
You didn't just speak for yourself. You spoke for every woman who has ever been lied to.
I smiled a little. I didn't feel like a hero, but I did feel like someone who had taken back her power. That night, I sat at my desk and opened my journal. I wrote down everything that happened, not just for me, but for the girl I used to be, the one who thought she wasn't good enough, the one who believed every sweet word from a man who kept her in the shadows. I wrote, I am enough. I am worthy of real love. And I will never settle for lies again. Over the next weeks, I went back to work. I baked bread. I laughed with the old ladies at the bakery. I walked by the river again. Sometimes I still thought of Patrick. Sometimes it hurt. But the pain got smaller each day, like a wound slowly healing. One Sunday, a few weeks later, I walked into my own small church in Maplewood. I sat quietly in the back and listened to the music. I didn't feel angry anymore. I didn't feel broken. I felt like myself again. And I prayed, not just for me, but for Anna, for her children, even for Patrick, that one day he would learn how to tell the truth and love honestly. Now, when I look back, I don't just see pain. I see a woman who faced her fear and spoke up. I see someone who refused to stay silent. And if you are listening to this story right now, maybe you are going through something hard too. Maybe someone lied to you or hurt you. I want you to know you are not alone. You are stronger than you think. You deserve love that is honest. You deserve respect. And remember, no matter what you are going through, you can heal. You can be free.
Thank you so much for listening. If you enjoyed this story, please like, comment, and share. You can watch the next story here or explore our playlist for more inspiring stories. And don't forget to subscribe. More emotional stories for learning English are coming soon.